Hey guys, it's part 3. You thought it was over. No, it's not. Why part 3 to the filter exchange? Pump water exchange between 2 tanks, and then eventually 3 tanks, eventually 4 tanks, 5 tanks, all in one row. Why am I doing another part 3? Well, it is hard to adjust the levels on the pump so that it flows evenly from one tank to the other and back to the other tank. Once you have that set, that's really the golden rule, right? Is to make sure that you can actually walk away for a half hour or an hour without watching these tanks, and eventually you can just let it run. So what did I do? I know you can put in a valve in the middle that will shut off the water supply. I don't have a valve right now, so what I've done is I've taken a piece of aluminum and I simply squeezed the tube. That's a lot easier than going in. I've done as much as I could with the levers on the pumps. You see there's a lever from minus to plus on both, and I've played with them enough to know that, hey, there's just a little bit more water coming out of one pump than the other. So now my water levels are absolutely still. They're not moving, and you can tell. Look at the I'll just quickly show you to the millimeter. There's a little gap there, and it's not going to move whatsoever. I mean, the thing is just perfect. And simply it just takes a little bit of a squeeze on one of the pumps. So I feel comfortable in moving on to adding 2 more pumps here, 2 more pumps here, and another 2 more pumps there, and eventually pushing these pumps to the back. And I do have some what do you call them, dividers from earlier in my videos. And what I'll do is I'll put a divider in the back separating the tank from the pumps, so you will never see the pumps, right? That's the goal, is to make all this eventually go to the back and make it invisible, clean up the power wires in the back. That may take me a while because I still have several tanks, but I want to go back to video 272. So this tank is what we were cleaning up last time. They made another mess in the tank, and I'm gonna put the pump back in one more time. But remember, this tank was almost a little dirty, and believe it or not, this is all I did, is put that same rig back in the tank for the last 2 hours, I believe. And this is how clean it is. Look, there is not a single thing on the bottom. There may be just little bits over there, but really not much the snails can't pick up, right? So all I'm doing is just sticking this huge pump in that forces the water out through a hose. On the end of the hose I put a strainer and a piece of cloth. Watch video 272 of mine, and you will see how that works. And this tank is now crystal clear. I'll go back and redo the original tank I was testing with. I kind of shut it off prematurely. I thought it was done, but it needed a couple more hours. So we'll redo that tank, but I started all over from tank 1, then I'll go tank 2, tank 3, tank 4, tank 5. And I've done a little bit on this tank, and there was a ton of algae and gravel, dirt on the top. And this is quite clean now, but I'll redo all the tanks all over again. And these guys are sharing the water. And let's go back to that. It's still exactly the same if you do it right. Exactly how I want it. So you can see the water. What I will do is eventually I will just dump a little bit of water out of here, maybe that much. Then, well, we'll see how it goes. But the idea is to just dump water in one tank and have it overflow to all the tanks. So that's part 3. And if you don't have a little lever switch off valve that can control the water flow between the tubing between the tanks, that's just a little jury rig. You can just squeeze a piece of aluminum there for as a temporary fix. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good night.